Let me paint a picture you might recognize. You're doing everything you're supposed to do. You're not reckless with money. You don't blow paychecks on ridiculous things. You probably even save something each month. But when you zoom out and look at your financial life honestly, where you are versus where you thought you'd be by now, there's a gap. And it's uncomfortable. Meanwhile, the internet is full of people claiming they turned a small amount of money into life-changing wealth in under 2 years. And you're left wondering, are these people real? Am I doing something wrong? Is there a version of this that actually works for normal people? Here's the honest answer. Yes, there is. But it looks nothing like what gets posted online for clicks. My name is Isla, and today I want to lay out what a realistic 5-year wealth building plan actually looks like. One that doesn't require you to get lucky, take dangerous risks, or dedicate your life to following financial markets. First, let's talk about why most people don't make progress. It's not laziness. It's not ignorance. It's usually one of two things. The first is starting with the wrong tool. Most people approach wealth building by focusing almost entirely on cutting expenses and saving whatever's left. And saving matters, don't get me wrong, but if your income is limited, savings alone move slowly. There's a ceiling to how much you can cut. There's no ceiling to how much you can earn. The second is inconsistency. People try things for 2 or 3 months, don't see dramatic results, and quietly abandon the plan. But wealth doesn't respond to short bursts of effort. It responds to sustained, compounding behavior over years. The timeline feels slow until suddenly it doesn't, and by then, most people who quit have missed the inflection point entirely. 5 years is long enough to do something meaningful, short enough to stay motivated. Let's talk about what to actually do with those 5 years. Brewery 1 and 2. The income pass. It's a reframe that changes everything for most people. In the early stages of building wealth, your most valuable financial asset isn't your savings account or your investment portfolio. It's your capacity to earn. Your income is the raw material everything else is made from. If that raw material is scarce, everything downstream, saving, investing, debt repayment, is harder than it needs to be. So the first priority, especially in years 1 and 2, is deliberately growing what you earn. This can look different for different people. For some, it means developing a skill that commands higher pay, learning something technical, getting a certification, building expertise that makes you harder to replace. For others, it means advocating for themselves inside their current job, negotiating a raise, taking on higher visibility projects, positioning for a promotion. For others, it means building an income stream outside their main job, even a modest one, that adds a few $100 a month. The specific path matters less than the direction. The question to sit with is, what would have the biggest impact on my earning in the next 24 months? And am I actively working on it? People underestimate how much income can shift in 2 years when it's treated as something to build rather than something that just happens to you. The trap that swallows every raise. It's something that will happen if you're not deliberate about it. Your income grows, and within a few months, your lifestyle quietly grows to match it. A nicer apartment because you can technically afford it now. Eating out more because it's not that much more than you were spending before. Small upgrades that each make individual sense but collectively consume every dollar of the raise. Behavioral economists call this hedonic adaptation, the human tendency to normalize improvements in our circumstances almost immediately. The new thing stops feeling new. The upgrade becomes the baseline, and the financial progress you made gets absorbed without a trace. The protection against this is a simple rule applied consistently. Whenever your income increases, commit a fixed portion of that increase to saving and investing before you adjust your lifestyle. At minimum, half. If your monthly income grows by $600, $300 goes directly into savings or investments. The other $300 you're free to enjoy without guilt. This one habit, applied every time income rises over 5 years, is worth more than almost any other financial decision you can make. Years 2 through 5, the compounding pace. Once your income is growing and lifestyle inflation is contained, you have something powerful, a consistent surplus, money that isn't spoken for by your expenses. And that's where investing enters the picture. The goal here isn't to find clever opportunities or time the market. The goal is boring consistency in vehicles designed for long-term growth. Broad market index funds, investments that track the overall stock market, individual companies, have historically delivered meaningful returns over long periods. Not every year, not in a straight line, but over 5, 10, 20 years, the direction has been reliably upward, and the returns compound on themselves in ways that become more powerful the longer they run. The math on consistent investing is worth understanding concretely. If you invest $600 a month starting today, over 5 years, that's $36,000 of your money. With modest market growth, the actual value could be meaningfully higher. But more importantly, that foundation is now compounding. The next 5 years build on it. The 5 years after that build on that. The numbers don't grow in a straight line. They curve upward, accelerating over time. That acceleration is why starting matters so much and why delaying costs more than people realize. What 5 years of consistency actually produces? Let me give you a realistic scenario. Someone spends year 1 focused on increasing their income, takes on additional responsibility at work, builds a skill, negotiates a raise. By the end of year 1, their monthly income has increased by $700. They apply the split rule. $350 of that goes directly into investment accounts, automated so it moves before they see it. The other $350 improves their life. Over year 2, they do it again. Another modest income increase, another portion redirected to savings. By this point, they're investing $500 to $700 a month consistently. By year 5, they have a growing investment portfolio, an income that looks meaningfully different than it did when they started. And maybe most importantly, a set of financial habits that are now just how they operate. None of that required luck. None of it required a market prediction or a viral business idea. It required choosing a direction and not abandoning it. The thing that actually determines the out. I want to be direct about something because I think it's the most important part of this conversation. 5 years from now is going to arrive regardless. That's not motivational fluff. It's just true. The question isn't whether time will pass. It's whether you'll have used it. Most people spend those 5 years intending to get serious about money, meaning to invest, planning to negotiate that raise, waiting to feel more financially stable before they start building financial stability. The people who actually change their financial situation in 5 years aren't the ones with the best plan on paper. They're the ones who started with an imperfect plan and stayed consistent long enough for it to compound. The gap between those two groups isn't intelligence or income or opportunity. It's follow through over time. Here's the practical starting point. If you want to apply this immediately, here's a focused starting point this week. Assess your income honestly, not what you wish it were, what it currently is, and what realistic levers exist to grow it in the next year. Write down 2 or 3 specific actions that would move that number. This month, look at your savings rate. What percentage of your income is currently being saved or invested? If it's under 15%, that's the first target to work toward. Not all at once, but as a direction this year. Automate as much of this as possible. Set up investment contributions that move automatically. Treat savings as a bill that gets paid first, not money left over after spending. The sophistication of the strategy matters far less than the consistency of the execution. 5 years is a real timeline, not an overnight transformation, not a 40-year crawl. 5 years of focused, consistent effort in the right direction is enough to produce something that actually looks and feels like financial progress. It starts with income. It's protected by avoiding lifestyle inflation. It's built through consistent investing. And it's sustained by not quitting when the results feel slow. That's it. Nothing in that formula requires you to be exceptional. It just requires you to be consistent. If this gave you a clearer picture of what the path actually looks like, hit like and subscribe. I put out content every week focused on practical financial strategy over hype, and drop a comment. What does your financial situation look like today? And where do you want it to be in 5 years? I read everything.